You're goddamn right.
To begin with, I'd like to apologize for the lengthy delay in recording anything, but I've been swamped with work and life in general has been really busy. But I'm going to remedy that this evening, and we're going to briefly discuss agency and identity, or at least some misconceptions that some feminists appear to have about them. So let's get started. So to begin with, let's touch briefly on agency. Now, the definition of agency I'm going to use is directly from Merriam-Webster, and I'm looking at the second portion of the definition, which is the capacity, condition, or state of acting or exerting power. Now, in common usage, that means the ability to engage or act as an actor as opposed to acted upon. And as that concerns the no true Scott fallacy or no true feminist fallacy that is commonly presented by feminists to handwave or excuse the behavior of self-labeled feminists, it means that an individual claiming that another individual is not feminist is denying them agency, which in and of itself is a non-feminist or an anti-feminist act. Because, amongst other things, the second wave tenets of feminism prioritize personal agency. So, when you act to eliminate or abrogate the agency of another, you are in fact being an absolutely abysmal feminist. Now, for the second thing I said I was going to touch on, identity, it's safe to say that identity is how we view ourselves in relation to the world. It also there are philosophically multiple levels of identity, but those are not necessarily relevant to what I'm going to explain here. However, I have noticed that there are individuals, regardless of ideology, who associate their identity rather fully with an ideology. They require ideological association to self-validate. If at any point you feel that any kind of criticism, even constructive criticism, of an ideology you associate yourself with becomes a personal attack, you are causing yourself to be validated by your association. You are literally creating a situation in which your identity is now under attack because you are unable to resolve yourself as an individual. If that's the case, then I'm sorry, I think you probably should seek some help, because if you are unable to self-validate, you are not a full and complete human being by almost any philosophical measure that I'm aware of. That said, I'm not going to claim I'm any kind of expert, but I certainly don't require the ideological association of anything to self-validate. I'm a perfectly competent and capable individual without having any labels attached to myself. Now, as a sublet to that, just because you view yourself as ideologically associated, that does not mean that any criticism of your ideology, however constructive or deconstructive, is necessarily a polar opposition to your identity or your ideology. Just because somebody doesn't agree with you does not mean that they are the antithesis of you. They could simply be somebody who is trying to help you address issues within your ideology as a fresh set of eyes. You may be very thoroughly invested and not aware of the ideological mishaps occurring. Let me give you an example from work. One of the things we are commonly told at work, so far as our safety policies are concerned, is that it takes a lot of eyes to examine the area that we work in to ensure that all of the possible safety issues are recognized and mitigated correctly. Just because I have suggested to you that there is something missing or being failed at in your ideology or in your philosophy does not mean that I am necessarily anti to your ideology. However, it could mean that I am a fresh set of eyes that is examining things from a new angle. But that would probably assume, going back to my first point, that you do not invest yourself so fully in an ideology that you draw significant amounts of self-validation from it. At any rate, that's pretty much all I had for this evening. It's short and it's sort of banged together, but comment below, subscribe, follow me on the Twitter. I now have a Facebook page dedicated to the Marking Bad brand at Marking Bad on the Facebooks. Go ahead and look them all up, or don't. I'm not here for your validation. I'm here for my validation.